In life, you have to think about your ideology. You have to think about what you stand for. I like to look at things from a perspective of anime sometimes as examples. So you can look at Aizen and you can look at Kisuke Urahara, right? You can look at Sosuke Aizen and Kisuke Urahara. Both of them were smarter than most of the people who they interacted with. Both of them were more powerful than most of the people that they interacted with. But ultimately, they have two different primary goals, right? Aizen's mindset was to overthrow the establishment and the system because he felt that it was unjust, unfair, and that society was built on this idea that was depraved. With the Soul King, with the royal families, or at least the noble families, with the different societies. You got Los Noches, you got, you got Hueco Mundo, you got the Soul Society, you got the Soul Palace, you got all these different realms. You got the world of the living. And when you understand these things, you know that there are certain things that were wrong, that were definitely off about the system of how the universe was set up in Bleach. There were things that were definitely wrong, right? But what was Kisuke's idea? What was his ideal? His ideal was to protect the establishment and do what he can to protect the establishment, because he saw the establishment as something that, although it had its flaws, it had its purposes, it had its reasonings, and it was the safest environment that he could think of to protect what was close and dear to him within his life and within his realm and within his reality. And then you also got to look at Uabak, right? What was Uabak's plan? His goal was to get rid of death. But the thing is this: to rebuild, you have to destroy. And sometimes people get heavily attached to the things that are a part of a society or a part of a situation, right? Part of a society and a civilization. And in order to rebuild, you have to destroy. And Uabak was going to kill and destroy a lot of things that were very important to a lot of people in order to reestablish things, right? What you have to understand is sometimes when your mindset is to destroy the establishment, you have to understand that there are going to be a lot of people who are hurt, a lot of people who lose their livelihoods in the time being. Like, let's say if we're talking about, coming to a stronger understanding of what socio-sexual dynamics is, there are a lot of people who understand what's going on, but they choose not to be honest about it because people benefit from it on both sides, right? Like if we're looking at the blue pill mentality of society, or if we're looking at even the red pill mentality of society, it's a game, right? And what is that game? The game is built on comparative value. The game is built on this idea of transactional sex. Society is often built on this idea of transactional sex, but they keep it beneath the surface. Some people don't want to be openly honest about it because to maintain the lie is what keeps people able to keep going on with it. If they knew what it really was that they were doing, they probably wouldn't want to do that. So it's like it keeps society going. If beta males believe that their money is what makes them attractive to women, right, then they will work in order to have access to women. They don't know that there are people out there who are not bad people, right, who are able to deal with women without spending any money, without any relationship status, and those women can be feminine and submissive with those men. They understand that. They don't know that. They have to fight that. They have to believe that whoever's having sex with women without a relationship or without, trying to spend a bunch of money on them is automatically taking advantage of the woman, right? They have to believe those things. Because if they don't believe those things, it'll shake the foundation of how they see civilization, how they see society. And it'll give them cognitive dissonance about their own value in comparison to what they've done. See, the thing about coming to an understanding of how reality really is you have to look at things and say, damn, well, I have to consider ways I've done things previously and the positive results that I've seen from it as something that wasn't real. You have to consider it as dung, right? You have to consider it as dung. And most people, they're too invested in what they've built up within themselves and in their lives to come to that realization unless they get burnt, right? And that's where red pill rage comes in. But you have to look at it like this. For some people, maybe Kisuke Urahara, he's a man who understood the nature of reality, but for some reason he sought to protect it. Now, we don't 100% yet know whether this was with a very good reason or whether this was with certain selfish reasons, or whether he had some type of darker ulterior motive behind it. It would be crazy if after Bleach, in the days of, Kazui Urasaki, that maybe Kisuke Urahara ends up being the main villain. But you got to look at things like this. It's kind of like the news. You're watching things on the news. They're telling you who's really wrong. They're telling you who's really evil. Or it's kind of like watching Star Wars. And then you see that there are so many things that are wrong with the Jedis, right? With that blue pill mentality of living life, that they do a lot of things that are selfish, a lot of things that are terroristic, a lot of things that are uncouth, a lot of things that are not morally correct. But they still seek to maintain that. And they can be easily manipulated by a structure to be used by that structure being manipulated, taken advantage of. But some people, they jump all the way over to the other side and decide that they want to be in the dark side. And why do you want to be in the dark side? Because you get to experience more realistic aspects of what it means to be a sentient being, which means that you have emotions, you have passions, you have anger, you have those different things. See, there's this dichotomy, right? There's this dichotomy of creating this false image of what it means to be good, and then creating this image of what it means to be evil, and including things that are good in what it means to be evil, including things that are meant to be evil and things that are good, right? And that's something that happens within these different mindsets. If we're looking at Aizen, Sosuke Aizen versus Kisuke Urahara, then you have to understand that. Who was really right at the end of the day? Maybe Kisuke was right. Maybe Aizen was right. Maybe Yuabak was right. But you also have to look at things from a different perspective. Sometimes you think that all you're doing is trying to protect yourself and protect your family and those who you love dearly, while you're being used by the society or used by people who understand things deeper than you do to protect what's dear to them. That's like Ichigo. Ichigo wasn't worried about being the world's greatest hero. Ichigo wasn't trying to be king of the pirates. Ichigo wasn't trying to be Hokage. Ichigo wasn't trying to be head captain of the 13 Gotei. He wasn't of the 12 squads. He wasn't trying to be the leader of that shit. You know what I mean? He wasn't trying to be the leader. Ichigo just wanted to protect the people who were close to him. And Kisuke took advantage of that in order to protect what was close to him, or what was important to him, which was maintaining the establishment. And sometimes people who maintain the establishment, they're going to go through periods of time where they are going to look like the bad guy. Maybe they're manipulated, maybe they're taken advantage of, right? But he stayed true to what he believed the whole time. Sosuke Aizen, same thing. But when you really think about it, who was really right in the grand scheme of Bleach? Who really had the correct ideology? And one thing that's pretty true throughout history is that to the victor goes the spoils. Whoever wins the war gets to rewrite history, gets to shape history in their own image, to say who is correct. But does that really mean whoever was correct is correct? Right? Or all of the lives that have to be taken by Yuabak in order to reinstate a civilization by which death doesn't exist, were all the lives that would be taken worth the goal that he was trying to reach? These are just some questions and some ideologies that I want to bring forth towards this conversation when it comes to Bleach. You know, Bleach is coming up soon. 1,000-year Blood War arc. I'm excited about it. And for me, and in my excitement about the 1,000-year Blood War arc, I have to say, you know, I'm definitely going to get into posting more anime content on my YouTube page. Like, when you understand, I'm coming to start posting more anime content. I'm going to show more of what the blurred aspect of the blurred pill is about. Because when I first created the blurred pill, you know, it really started from being in my group Brokage on Facebook. And within my group Brokage on Facebook, there were a lot of different things to where it started off just being about primarily anime. But I was like, you know what? I want to talk about socio-sexual dynamics and things like that as well. So anime, a lot of it came first for me. There's music and shit like that too. But what we need to understand is this. I'm going to come through and I'm going to come heavy with some anime content. Bleach coming up, be making some Bleach content. You know, I'm going to be making some Berserk content. Be making maybe some content on Rurouni Kenshin, right? Be making some content on a variety of different anime and manga that really resonate with me. And I hope y'all fuck with it. It's Brody. I'm out.